Venice, one of the most stunning cities on Earth. Over 50,000 tourists arrive here each day for the carnival, culture and canals. But what they don't see is how this city works. This is Venice from the inside. Around the clock, emergency teams fight to keep a city built on water safe and working. With unprecedented access to police, fire and medical teams, we come face to face with the unique daily challenges and life and death drama.
Up to yesterday evening she was alright, and this morning she was found not responsive.
This is Venice 24/7, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. Venice has almost 2,000 years of culture and history packed into an island 3 miles long. The high density of ancient buildings, erected on mud and still in good working condition, makes this one of the world's most architecturally valuable cities. It's Venice's uniqueness which draws millions of visitors each year. But as tourist numbers rise, resident numbers fall. Less than 60,000 people now live here year-round. In the depths of winter, the city is briefly handed back to the residents. Once the tourists go home, ordinary men and women get down to ensuring the city is set for the year ahead. In the heart of Venice, just off the Canal Grande, is the historic centre's only fire station. Here, over 50 firemen operate a fleet of super-fast fireboats, ready to be launched for any emergency. And at the helm is 39-year-old Alessandra Bascià.
This is not my town. This is not my place, my birthplace, I mean. I'm coming from the south of Italy. And in Italy there is quite a difference between south and north, and I'm a woman, and here firemen are almost all men, and this could be a problem. Buongiorno signori, con o senza telecamere, buongiorno e buon appetito. I am the one who says, okay, do that, don't do that, and this could be another source of problems. But I think that by respecting others, you get respect.
Alessandra is one of the country's first female fire chiefs. She's headed up operations here for 12 years and sees herself as one of the guys.
Dove, qua? Non mi sembra di vederlo in questo momento. E beh, quando arriva Bobo io avevo già abbondantemente finito di mangiare. Vabbè.
She's running the day shift, and the bad weather swiftly triggers the first emergency call-out.
Personale di prima partenza per incontro stradale. Sì, nautico.
It's not a fire, but a more common occurrence around this time of year. A boat that's sinking.
Il civico mi dice che sei qua. Però fermiamo in teoria sei qua. Pronti, andiamo.
The team head to the busy district of Cannareggio on the north side of the city.
Non nevica tanto facilmente alla Venezia. Adesso andiamo a fare un recupero di imbarcazione. Mi sembrerebbe, dalle notizie che abbiamo, che si sia disormeggiata. Sono allentati gli ormeggi. È andata alla deriva e probabilmente è anche sotto acqua.
It only takes one obstruction on Venice's busy waterways to cause chaos. But with the bad weather now setting in, the team have difficulty reaching the site.
In Venice there is the water, but the level of water is not the same all the time. It changes from one hour to another.
As water levels rise, any one of the 400 bridges can pose a serious hazard to the exposed firemen.
Non raccomando, non fate gente i conti, Sala operativa da Venezia 1, ti do il codice 9, sull'altra no, adesso vedremo.
With thousands of passengers using the canals each day, the half-submerged boat poses a real danger. They need to pull it out of the water.
Si prova a verificare se il proprietario dell'imbarcazione sta arrivando sul posto.
Come scende la prima parte?
Queste condizioni meteorologiche non c'è caso. Aspettiamo che spetta.
In bad weather, a boat sinks almost every day. The firemen typically pump water from the sunken boat to lighten it, before attempting to heave it out of the water.
Avanti per la prima!
Thick snow and choppy waters are hampering the operation.
Negativo, stiamo pure operando.
Bisognerebbe recuperarla, solo che le condizioni meteorologiche non permettono di lavorare in sicurezza né per noi né per l'imbarcazione. O emettiamo del nastro segnaletico bicolore bianco e rosso, in modo da impedire a altre imbarcazioni di andarci sopra.
All the firemen can do is cordon off the area and send another team back once conditions improve.
Sala operativa, ti do rientro in sede da Venezia 1.
At this time of year, the city is as empty as it ever gets. It's not just the water-based emergency services who need to adapt to Venice's encroaching winter.
Buongiorno. Spazzino? Ok, grazie.
On land, the sudden blizzards and fluctuating water levels can also complicate vital day-to-day jobs, as Denis Vianello knows all too well.
Purtroppo noi lavoriamo sempre in queste situazioni, oggi con la neve, con il caldo, con la pioggia, comunque noi dobbiamo stare sempre fuori, di conseguenza il lavoro deve essere fatto e si fa, insomma non c'è niente da fare.
Denis often starts at 6:30 a.m., cleaning up after revelers or collecting residential refuse.
Con l'acqua praticamente è lo stesso servizio, dobbiamo farlo, è un servizio che facciamo comunque anche con l'acqua, è solo che provare a immaginare a camminare sulle stesse strade come questa, con gli stivaloni, quelli alti, oppure addirittura quelli fino a qua diciamo, e la fatica la doppia un po'.
Each cart can hold 900 liters of rubbish, which Denis has to drag to a designated rubbish stop before it's transferred to a boat.
Il problema è che ci sono cambiano le postazioni delle barche, perché appunto non tutte le barche possono arrivare sugli stessi punti che sono adesso, dunque possono cambiare le postazioni, ma per il resto il servizio va fatto sempre comunque.
Once Denis gets the rubbish to the right mooring, it's then loaded onto the boat and crushed. Up to 20 cartloads can be transported each shift.
Però vabbè, dopo molte volte non si pensa a niente, tante volte non so, la bambina a casa, queste cose, però niente di proprio così importante, diciamo. Far passare la giornata intanto. Così se finire più presto, a bere qualcosa di caldo, sinceramente sì. Sta bene.
No matter what the weather, the city's half a ton of daily rubbish must be dealt with. 500 years ago, those who dumped rubbish illegally were publicly flogged. Refuse is still a problem, but the ancient city has a 21st century solution. There's no landfill in Venice, so the rubbish is taken along the canal to a processing plant. Here, it gets turned into pellets of energy. The process is overseen by Massimo Rossi.
Questo è il combustibile che facciamo qui a Fusina con i rifiuti di Venezia, sostituisce il carbone nelle centrali elettriche. L'abitante di Venezia sa che la sua energia elettrica è prodotta con i suoi rifiuti.
Tourists may create the waste of around 100,000 extra residents, but that in turn creates more power for the city. Over on the northeast side of the historic centre, in Castello, is the city's only hospital. This being Venice, even a high-tech medical facility has an ornate 15th century facade. Part of the hospital is housed in a 13th century convent, dating back to when Venice was a thriving port and maritime power. Diseases passed through as often as cargo, so it was here that one of Italy's first healthcare systems was born. Today, the hospital is still at the cutting edge of care. It's from here that its 4 water ambulances speed across the canals nearly 16,000 times a year. Venice's ambulances and emergency room are run by South African-trained Dr. Michele Alzetta.
Living in Venice, we're almost always, on the verge of an emergency. About 29% of the population in the historical center of Venice are old people. We have a proportionally large number of people having health problems here than in a town with a younger population, of course.
On average, 2 emergency call-outs are phoned through to the control center each hour. The team take an emergency call about someone who's collapsed at home.
We know that we have an elderly person with a suspected stroke because she was found with her eyes fixed in one position. She's not able to move at all, apparently.
It takes the team just 5 minutes to get to the right mooring, but on Venice's 30-mile stretch of busy waterways, finding a place to park isn't always easy.
Unfortunately, there's another boat parked here, so we have to cross this one to get off.
After a few minutes searching for the patient's address, the team realize they can't find it.
Ha chiamato lei un'ambulanza? Perfetto, signora. Dove si trova esattamente il 4801?
People actually don't know where they live, at least not so clearly as to be able to tell somebody else.
Mi ascolti, mi dice esattamente il suo numero civico di casa? Beh, signora, non ci capiamo qui. C'è qualcuno che può scendere in strada?
Venice is a collection of separate settlements gradually joined together over 15 centuries. The 6 different districts result in a bewildering maze of streets and squares, each with their own numbering system.
Unfortunately, the numbers are not inserted into any of the GPS service. GPS services don't really work here in Venice.
Searching for the right address can add precious minutes to the team's response time.
Va bene, signora, stia tranquilla, adesso tenga il telefono libero e vediamo di trovare, va bene? Ok, salve.
Finally, the house and the patient are located.
Allora, 67 di frequenza la signora, 96 la saturazione.
This lady has already had a stroke in the past. Up to yesterday evening she was alright, and this morning she was found with her gaze fixed to the left and not responsive.
The patient is in her late 80s. She's already suffered 2 strokes. They need to take her in.
We have to get back to the hospital now with this lady who has a stroke. I just controlled her parameters, but the blood pressure is alright and she's breathing okay.
Getting back to the hospital thankfully takes just 5 minutes. Dr. Alzetta barely has time to drop the patient off before he's called out on the next emergency. Although the sun has come out, winter still makes its presence felt. Water, the lifeblood of Venice, threatens to overwhelm it. The city can flood up to 60 times a year. The fire brigade has been called out to rescue another sunken boat, this time in the area of Castello. Today, they brought the divers. Venice sits in a tidal lagoon and water levels rise and fall twice a day. If boats are moored too tightly, one end dips as water levels fall. It then fills up with water from waves created by passing traffic.
Ok, eventualmente bisogna che mi dici che magari cerco di accompagnarla,
The firemen decide to use a system of ropes and pulleys to drag the boat from the canal. They try to hoist it, but the water inside has made it too heavy.
Non riusciamo a vincerla, a portarlo in superficie. Allora mettiamo il pallone, lo alleggeriamo un po', portiamo su dal fondo.
The owner of this boat is training to be a gondolier, so a sunken practice boat is a setback. For residents in Venice, daily life in the city has always been about combining new solutions with traditional techniques, and death is no different. In the late 18th century, Napoleon outlawed burials in Venice, insisting the bodies be taken across the canal to the island of San Michele. Special funeral barges had to be built. Today, negotiating the lagoon still poses unique problems for funeral director Nicola Soffiato.
Perché qui a Venezia, essendoci l'acqua e questo problema della marea che non sempre è della stessa altezza, allora c'era prima che noi facevamo tutto a mano, c'erano degli inconvenienti, molte volte c'era acqua bassa, molte volte acqua alta, ma si andava proprio male a mano a scaricare, era molto pericoloso.
With 1,100 funerals to conduct each year, these barges have been given a 21st century upgrade. Nicola has had a lift specially designed by a local company to handle the loading of the coffins onto the boat. It's a system which exists nowhere else in the world.
Questo viene su fino a una certa misura e poi c'è la rotazione, c'è un piatto girevole che arriva alla rotazione giusta per scaricare. Poi quando siamo arrivati in questa posizione noi praticamente allunghiamo un carrello che viene fuori e ci permette che il feretro sia proprio a portata di mano.
Today it's the funeral of Fra Alfonso, a Franciscan friar who, after taking a vow of poverty, spent over 40 years in the San Francesco della Vigna convent. His involvement in local life made him a much-loved figure. Hundreds have turned out to pay their last respects. Fra Alfonso is one of a privileged few allowed to be buried in Venice. With land so scarce, there are waiting lists for the few available plots. After a service at the church of San Francesco della Vigna, Fra Alfonso is transferred onto the special funeral boat and taken to his final resting place across the canal at San Michele. It's 8 o'clock and the start of a new shift for the team at the fire station. The boats are rigorously examined every day. Maintaining the propellers and pumps is the highest priority. The fire chief, Alessandra, is one of the few people working here from outside the lagoon. Most of the men are local, and today they're losing their longest-serving member. Alessandra's deputy, shift boss and Venetian Lele Tagliapietra, is taking the register of the 16 men on duty. It's the last roll call of his career. At the age of 55, the married father of two is about to take early retirement.
Io ero piccolissimo che proprio dicevo mia madre, mio padre, vado a fare i pompieri, ci sono riuscito.
Losing someone like Lele, it's a problem for us because He is full of experience as a Venetian and as a firefighter.
Lele knows better than anyone the risks for every fireman working in Venice.
Quindi il rischio non è l'incendio grosso che lo dà, ma il pericolo sussiste anche solo nelle salite delle imbarcazioni. Anche passando sotto un ponte, se sei un attimo distratto, magari stai organizzando qualcosa, e se ti distrai un attimo sbatti la testa e ti fai male.
But on this shift, there's a greater danger to worry about. The most dreaded call of all has come in. Fire. A fire has been reported in a residential apartment. As the city is mainly built on wooden structures with wooden floors and roofs, if fire takes hold, it will rapidly spread along the entire block.
Avanti per la prima Venezia.
Volevamo sapere se la situazione è sotto controllo.
C'è tanta presenza di fumo, ti so dire qualcosa in merito tra qualche minuto.
The fire team needs water quickly, but only some parts of Venice have fire hydrants, and this isn't one of them. Hydrants were only installed in the city following the devastating fire of 1996, which claimed the landmark Venice Theatre. This iconic 18th century building had already been ravaged by fire twice. This time, the theatre was utterly devastated by the blaze, which took 2 days to extinguish. Losing the home of some of the world's most famous operas struck a devastating blow to the cultural heart of Venice.
Siccome i solai sono in legno, è facile che prenda fuoco il solaio, dal solaio prende fuoco l'altro appartamento al piano più alto. Cerchiamo sempre di arrivare il più presto possibile, se no è abbastanza veloce.
At the hospital, the ambulance has been called out again, but this time the team has much further to travel.
Now we're going to Burano, which is a small island of the Venetian lagoon. And when we have a patient with chest pain, we have no other information.
For Dr. Alzetta and his team, it's a race against time.
Chiamando la casa per capire, perché sappiamo in che canale è, ma per capire se più in una direzione o più nell'altra per andare.
The Venice hospital has to serve the whole lagoon, including 13 outlying islands, an area twice the size of Birmingham. Burano is 20 minutes away at top speed. The team can't afford to waste more time looking for the right address once they arrive. At Burano, the patient's relatives are on the bank waiting to rush the doctor to her. The patient is an elderly lady and her condition has seriously deteriorated. The paramedics begin resuscitation.
Dammi un coso per intubare. Preparami il tubo.
Despite the team's best efforts, this call-out has not ended happily.
So when we got there, she was already cardiac arrest for over 10 minutes. So we did everything that was indicated, but the chances were extremely slight and she just didn't make it.
Back at the burning building, the firemen have managed to stop the fire from spreading, but the first floor apartment is badly damaged and the owners won't be able to return.
Entrambi con l'acqua e vedeva il fuoco solo che dentro il fuoco. Prima di entrare con l'investitore poi dopo me e il fuoco era solo dentro.
The fire may have been extinguished, but the danger isn't over.
Può essere che all'interno di un trave rimanga accesa abbracci.
Adesso vedremo che tirata via il fumo e dopo terremo la guaglia. Comunque è tutto sotto controllo.
Once the smoke has dispersed, the fire team can begin their critical checks using a thermal camera. In stone houses, the camera is used to detect fire in an adjacent room. But in Venice, fire is more deceitful, as it can be lurking in the wooden structure. Walls and ceilings must be checked inch by inch.
Infatti qua guarda, si misura 60 gradi, 57, 59. Sulla base della bagno siamo a 38, 40 gradi, sempre 41, la travatura la fa 40.
Anything less than 100 degrees means that the building is safe. The team confirms there are no burning embers in the walls.
Niente, qua a posto.
They clear the fire scene and have just one more distress call to deal with.
You must go before St. Martin's Square,
you have to go to
and then you go
and then you have to ask for the reality wage.
Okay, but
you can see on the
Da che parte? Da che parte
right,
verso Marco? Da che parte verso Marco l'ho chiesto?
on there. Big one.
Thank you, welcome.
After a 6-hour operation, the team head back to the station, just in time to celebrate shift boss Lele Tagliapietra's last day on the job.
Com'è andata? Da tutto bene?
The successful actions of his team today are a fitting end for a Venetian who has devoted his life to keeping the city safe.
Ho fatto una vita qua dentro, ho fatto 29 anni, sempre in questo turno qua ho fatto 29 anni, dall'82 fino ad oggi, non ho mai cambiato turno, sono sempre rimasto qua.
Lele, come farò io senza di te, senza mio fratello?
Penso di essere uno delle poche persone che ha fatto un lavoro che piace fare, cioè, sempre stato contento con l'entusiasmo fino all'ultimo giorno, a parte i ginocchi di questa sera che se tornassi indietro non lo rifarei, proprio non cambierei il lavoro, vado via volentieri, mi piace andare via da contento di quello che ho fatto e basta, senza rimpianti.
We're still here. Our job doesn't stop. Once firefighters, forever firefighters.
In the next episode, over 150,000 tourists descend for one of the world's oldest and most spectacular parties, Carnival. For those putting on the celebrations, stakes couldn't be higher.
Diciamo, in teoria ho in mano la sua vita.
The paramedics are called out to rescue Carnival tourists.
When we have Carnival, we have a huge amount of drunk people.
And the police have to deal with a real death in Venice.
Sembra sia una persona morta in acqua.